Hello, everyone. I'm Delia Gonçalves, board member of the Children's Environmental Health Network, and it is my honor to introduce our guest of the hour, but it'll be less than an hour, don't worry, Dr. Jalonne White-Newsome. On October 9th, CEH Day, we are so proud to be recognizing Dr. J's impactful and inspiring leadership as she will be rewarded and will receive this year's Child Health Advocate Award. Yay, round of
Awesome.
applause. After our chat, I encourage all of you to head to our website, cehn.org, to read Dr. J's impressive bio. But in the meantime, stay where you are, lean in. And Dr. J, I'm going to start off by asking you to tell us a little bit about yourself and what led you to do this work in the environmental justice space.
Awesome. Well, first of all, dear, it's wonderful to share this space with you. And it is just, amazing to even be considered to be honored by the Children's Environmental Health Network. I have so much respect for the organization, for the leadership. So I'm eternally grateful. And I'll say, really, I didn't get into this work by happenstance. I come from a family, a mom and a grandmother that took care of children and families as a part of our business, family business, and our ministry. And so from early on, I was working in our child care centers in Detroit and across the country. And the children that came into our centers were children that unfortunately had dealt with some really serious circumstances very early in life. They had families that, again, in many cases had challenges. Maybe the parents were incarcerated. Maybe they were dealing with, again, mental challenges, low income, just all sorts of things. And so the children we saw, became a part of our broader family. And so I learned from an early age that when you have resources, when you have privileges, that part of what we're here on this earth to do is to serve and be of service to others. And so I would guess my passion to serve came from my family and how I saw them help children and families across this country become sustainable, become liberated, and really, I would say, do the things that they need to do to survive and thrive.
You know, I told you before we got started, most of my favorite people are from Detroit who are all go-getters and get things done. And that seems to be your mantra of getting things done and serving your community and your neighbors. But you, I think, can't serve and pour out without filling your cup as well, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I want to ask what you do to fill your cup, whether it's, some self-care or reflection. What do you do to kind of sustain yourself to do this hard work that lies ahead?
Yeah, Delia, I'm gonna be honest. I am not the picture perfect self-care person, but I will tell you the things that I enjoy and that fill me up. And it's watching my children. I have two daughters, 16 and 19. They are both athletes, and I am the crazy mama on the sideline screaming like really just enjoying and engaging in their game. So one plays volleyball, one runs track and cross country. So that fills me up to be able to spend time with them. But other than that, I enjoy music. And I frequently have either some Bob Marley playing, some Selena, some Janis Joplin, Shania Twain, Aretha. Like I could go on and on.
The whole
I got a
spectrum.
record player. Yeah, everything. Led Zeppelin. So yeah, I got a record player a couple years ago. And so I'm in this, I'm collecting records and I love the way they sound. So that brings me joy. Good music,
Mm.
spending time with family. I'm pretty simple.
That's all I think one needs, right? And I think music is so transformative. It can really bring you to certain places, right? And make
Absolutely.
you feel certain emotions. You just reminded me of a funny story. We got a record player for she was my now 13-year-old. She was probably around 10 at the time. And Donna Summers was her jam.
Oh,
She so and she's so nostalgic about, the oldies. So
That's the good stuff.
music can move you at any age.
Yes.
I love that. I love that. And I can totally see you as the screaming mom on the sidelines. Biggest cheerleader, right?
Definitely, definitely.
Let's talk about you being a cheerleader for children and in the environmental health space. You've worked in a variety of sectors, most
Yeah.
notably your time with the Biden-Harris administration, leading the first ever White House Office of Environmental Justice. Most recently, as an associate professor of environmental justice specialization at the University of Michigan. So, across these experiences, Dr. J, what remains your core message, the through line in relation to environmental justice and equity?
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting, and I've been blessed to work in a lot of different spaces. Definitely a privilege to serve in the Biden-Harris administration that I was not expecting. I've worked in philanthropy and nonprofit, work for a community-based organization and private industry, which is where I started my career. And I would say across all those different sectors and places and spaces, um, the thing that I tried to I guess the thread line, I guess, to my journey has been that equity and environmental justice cannot be an option. It's a necessity. You should never use this excuse that we don't have the time or the money to do equity or do an environmental justice. Like if you are an organization that has a mission, and I've never really aligned myself with an organization that I didn't believe in their mission, if we are to achieve that mission, then we have to do it in a way where everybody, regardless of where you come from, how much shows on your W-2 at the end of the year, how well connected you are, that should not matter. We all deserve to live in a healthy and safe environment, and every sector has a part of that. And again, regardless of where I've been, that has been the through line. Um, it can't equity and environmental justice can't be an afterthought. It has to be a priority.
I love that. I love that. Just wrote that down. It's not a privilege. It's a right and it's not an option.
Definitely.
I love that. I wanted to ask you about, doing all this work. You had, certainly ups and some downs
Mhm.
that you had to power through. So can you share some of those challenges that you may have faced in each of those settings and how you were able to kind of navigate and push through?
Yeah, well, Delia, I mean, the thing about it is, again, I'm a very proud native Detroiter. I will say that. And one of the things that we come with is a lot of grit. They say people in Detroit, we hustle real hard. And that is the spirit that I try and bring into every space. I don't care where I'm at. I would frequently say to my staff and in the White House, like, don't let me bring the Detroit out unless you really want to see something. So that was my invoking some fear. But
You've been
what I
warned.
say, you have been warned. I'm kind of
Yes.
nice, but I can bring out that other side. Um, across the different sectors, I think the biggest thing for me and when I get frustrated is when people are scared to take risks, when people are scared to do something different. And if you're so, kind of you want to see a different outcome. You want to actually, again, achieve your mission, whatever it is, your assignment, but you're afraid to do something different. You're afraid to bring in different people to the conversation. You're afraid to be wrong. You're afraid that you're going to lose some of your power. You're afraid that your ego is going to be bruised. All these things, regardless of whatever organization sector you're in, are things that keep us from actually moving forward. And so, what I've tried to do um, is not leave any organization the same way I found it. I would imagine if you talk to anyone that worked with me in any sector, whether it be philanthropy, nonprofit, science based advocacy, big NGO, the White House, they will probably say, you kind of, Jalonne was pretty transparent and you knew where she was coming from. And rarely did she not speak her mind in a way that she was trying to represent the communities that literally I have to go back to. So it's the sense of, if I don't take the risk, if I don't push the envelope, if I don't try and shift the culture, then why am I here? I believe very intently that, God puts you in places, uh, not just for the fun of it. There's a reason that I was assigned to the Biden Harris administration at that time. There was a reason I was in philanthropy at that time. And so, what I've learned is that you have to show up as yourself, regardless of where you're at. You got to stand on your foundations, you have to stick to them, and you have to believe in yourself in a way that, even though it might be scary and risky, again, you're not doing this work for you, but it's for the others, the other folks, that the strangers that you might never meet, but the policy that you're trying to implement will hopefully change their lives and make their lives better. So that is what I have learned. I would say, from the collection of experiences, is that you have to take risks if you want something different, stand your ground, and remember why you're doing this work.
Those are three great tenets that I think that anyone can live by. Yeah, stepping out of your comfort zone, taking risks, calculated risks that are worth it. I love that. Fantastic. In this time of uncertainty, it is a difficult time, challenging for a lot of
Yes.
us. Um,
Yeah.
can you speak to some of the successes, glass half full, right? Let's look at the positive and what and how we can still be impactful and move strategically in this space. So, speak to some of the successes that you've observed in the environmental equity space, particularly relating to children's environmental health.
Delia, what I think is so awesome about children's environmental health is that, when I think about my work over the past 30 plus years in advancing environmental justice, children are inherently connected to that. When we think about taking care of the least of these, I think about the babies, uh, and the children that sometimes don't have a voice, or sometimes are put in situations that are beyond their control, um, that they don't even deserve. And so I think what I'm excited about, even in this time of chaos and confusion and uncertainty, and what I continue to see across this country, is that people remain committed. Um, they are coming together in ways that I've never seen folks come together. They are collaborating. They are showing up for each other. They are sharing resources. And when I say, for example, you know, the challenges, for example, that a lot of community-based organizations are, pushing legal stuff to get their monies that have been frozen by the federal government. And there was a time where, maybe this little community-based organization, or this little environmental justice organization, would kind of be on their own. But I've seen some of the larger nonprofits and the larger non-governmental organizations say, hey, we have the resources, we have the legal expertise. We are going to come together and support these organizations that we might have never been connected with, to help you get through this rough patch. And so I think, to me, when we talk about really addressing environmental injustice, addressing children's health in a way that is going to be impactful, the sense of collaboration, the sense of showing up for one another, the sense of being committed despite all the things that are trying to work against us, all the forces. That is, to me, really, it's motivating, it's exciting, and it's where we need to be right now. Because we are not going to tackle, we're not going to, I mean, we're not even through 1 year of this current administration. And I'll just say it like that. This is a marathon. So we have to figure out ways that we can show up for each other. Um, Children's environmental health is, again, the health of communities. It's, the health in our schools. And again, doing a lot of advocacy to support, again, even the schools in Michigan that are losing funding, the Head Start program. So trying to make my voice, trying to put pen to paper, social actions, get folks engaged that haven't been engaged. That is really where my focus is now, on local and state level policy. So again, I'm seeing just some amazing collaboration, some amazing commitment, and that keeps me motivated and excited and encouraged.
Absolutely. You'd see that across all nonprofit sectors, really just folks understanding that we are stronger together. And now
Yeah.
is the time to unite under our, shared vision and mission. So
Hmm.
that kind of is a perfect segue to our final question. This year, we hosted a series of advocacy trainings
Mm.
for child health champions. I was fortunate enough to be there and help train some of these inspiring, phenomenal people. Uh, Many of them joining us from around the world. What's your
Hmm.
advice for these trainee champions, specifically at this time of challenge? There's a second part to this question, but let's just pause there and you can answer that part.
Yeah, I mean, so what is so powerful is education. And I think once these trainees are armed with knowledge, the most important thing is getting them out into the field, helping them use it. And so I think because I think people see the bigger picture that, we are all connected, that no matter how the narrative in our country seeks to divide us, we have to understand we are more dynamic together. We're more dynamic because of our differences. So when you are um, preparing folks with education, making that connection between environmental health and environment or environmental health, whatever, that gives people power. So now it's like, how do you use that power? And so I would encourage the trainees to continue to learn more, but don't just learn it and hold on to it. Share it at the kitchen table, share it at your church, share it at your children's school, and figure out ways and how you can work with organizations like Children's Environmental Health Network to actually get that knowledge out and advocate and use it. That is when I think we become unstoppable because you're creating this army of folks that again share this same mission, share the same passion, and are armed with enough information to be dangerous. So I'm really excited about these trainees and what they're going to do.
Armed with enough information to be dangerous. I love that. So is information sharing, would you say, one of the most important things that folks can do to inspire change and equity in their communities?
So I think like I'm big on education because oftentimes, people have called me kind of like the translator, right? Um, it's not really how many big words you can use. And, this research study said this. It's like, how do you make it real for people? How do you connect this environmental health stuff, this climate change stuff to people's real lives? And that's how you show them like why they should care. Like, so what? What does this mean to me? Why should this matter to me? And so I think that education, in addition to helping people understand their why, but then also what they can do is critical. And, I think the thing that I've learned is that people, how do I say this? You know, people, I don't know, they just need a way to show up. And oftentimes I think what we don't do the best at is you give folks information and training, but then you don't give them a way to actually use it and kind of get out there. And I think many people have different talents and really understanding maybe my talent isn't talking to a legislator, but it's designing an amazing social media campaign. Maybe it's, conducting a small rally at whatever, like really figuring out like what are the best ways to use people and their talents to push this mission, to push this message. And so yeah, it's just so much opportunity. Like there is no lack of issues. I think it's just being strategic in how we recruit, how we educate, and how we make sure people feel valued in the space.
Dr. J, outstanding words of advice. Leaning in and, collaborating. And I think I mean, that's pretty much a call for action for all of us
Yeah.
because we all have a part to play. Not everyone will be leading the charge, but there is a part for everyone to be involved and be empowered and make change. Dr.
Mhm.
J, Dr. Jalonne White-Newsome from Detroit, getting it done. Thank you so much for this engaging conversation. I really enjoyed it. It was such a pleasure. And congratulations again on being the recipient of our CEH 2025 Child Health Advocate Award, a well-deserved honor. We are so proud and thank you for all that you do on behalf of children's environmental health.
Thank you so much. This was a pleasure.